Hello, guys. Welcome. Today I am here with the beautiful Sabrina. Hello, hello, hello. And she
Hi, thanks for having me.
welcome. And she is an Ayurveda enthusiast, a self-care holistic queen, and she's just absolutely stunning. I love everything she's about, everything that she teaches, especially to female entrepreneurs. So welcome, beautiful queen.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So you do Ayurveda. I know a lot of my audience, they're not familiar with that yet. So let's start off with what Ayurveda is.
Yeah, so Ayurveda is the oldest holistic healthcare system, and it's based on a spiritual science that is 5,000 years old, and it's coming from
Damn.
India. Yeah, I know it's really nice. It's like an ancient wisdom that brings us. We really need those kind of lessons, and all of this wisdom is so appreciated nowadays, especially as female entrepreneurs, as we are constantly working on our computer all day long and constantly, finding ourselves with health challenges was what I call. We'll dive deeper into these later, but Ayurveda is here just to remind us how to find balance within our body, our mind, our soul, with the help of diet, lifestyle, and herbs in general.
That is beautiful. Like I've mentioned before, I've studied Ayurveda for a really long time, so I know what it is. But let's chat a little bit further now. So, talk about what the doshas are and how we can intertwine them into our regular daily lives and how we can become the best versions of ourselves with not only our business, but like holistically and self centered inside of us, where we become this beautiful version and we are healthy in all aspects of our lives.
Yeah, definitely. So the doshas are three mind body types that are really popular when you start to hear a lot about Ayurveda. You just want to know about your dosha, you want to take a quiz online, everything. I don't know about you, but I'm so into taking all of the quizzes, human design, astrology, numerology, all of this.
I think it's in my
So
dosha.
yeah, so adding one to the to the plate is good. Like learning about your dosha has really changed my life, literally. So how it can bring you back to your true nature and just your authentic self in a sense is it gives you all of the tendencies, your body tendencies, and it gives you all of the those little stuff you keep on asking yourself, like, where does that come from? Why do I like this? Why am I not able to digest this? Why can't I gain weight? Why can't I lose weight easily? So all of these little questions that modern medicine doesn't have the time to find out the reasons why sometimes, and they don't even know where to begin with when you start learning all about this little stuff that's been going on in our mind. So once you start learning about your dosha, you start to learn more about who you are, where you come from, your body tendencies in general. So the three doshas are based on the 5 elements of nature. And a dosha is a predominance of 2 of these elements of nature. So I would say, I don't know, you are vata. So vata is someone that has a lot of air and space element in their body and their mind too. So that would come as your body tendencies will look something like bloating. You have a lot of constipation. You may be more prone into eating really dry and cold foods like smoothies and raw veggies all the time. And it's not a bad thing. It's just your body tendencies. You're just really drawn to these things. And in terms of your mindset, Vata people, they usually have a lot of problem with anxiety, with stress, with being lightheaded a little bit, racing thoughts, insomnia, dry skin, there's so many
They're
symptoms. And
airy.
once you start, you really, yeah, exactly. Do you know which dosha you are?
I'm a Veda Kapha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's me.
wow.
You're describing me right now. With added some
Yeah,
earth
the
elements as
opposite.
well.
Well, that's really something to find a balance between the air element
Oh
and
yeah.
earth and water element. That must be super challenging. Yeah. So that's the Vata, really airy, spicy, the enthusiast, the speaker that uses a lot of their throat chakra and a lot of spirituality stuff. So this is the Vata. And we have all of the 3 doshas within ourselves. It's just that we have a predominance for 1 or 2 of the doshas in there. The second one is Pitta, and that's a little bit more like me, I would say. It's just like a really more like angular face, the more leadership. There are people that have medium body size. They're like really in the medium in terms of like they gain weight, but they lose weight easily. It's like always, they just hang out in the middle a little bit. And those Pitta, the Pitta dosha usually shows off as anger issues, a lot of frustration. There's a lot of fire element in there. So a lot of loose stools. You may have, really hungry, like hangry. Is that a word? Yeah,
Angry,
hangry.
yeah.
When you're like so hungry that you become angry. Yeah, that's it. So that would be the Pitta piece, people. Sorry. Yeah, all of the leadership competition, yeah, all of this is really Pitta. And as female entrepreneurs, we usually have a little bit of Pitta too, because of this, go-getter, ambition, woman kind of type. So we usually have a lot of Pitta in ourselves too.
We definitely
And the
need a
last
good
one,
balance of all of them. We need to intertwine all of
exactly.
them, and we could talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And the last one you mentioned it is Kapha. And Kapha is all about earth and water and stability and grounding and all of what makes your body, your bones, your muscles, all of the, physical stuff that looks like your body is Kapha actually. So yeah, it's all about the grounding. And people that are Kapha individuals, they love cooking, they love sweets, they love helping people, they love to give hugs, they love all things routines and stability. So these, once you start learning about these three doshas, you start to think about, oh, is my family member like this, or I'm like this, or like you start to, it takes once you learn Ayurveda, it's like it changes your life.
It
Like you
really
start
does. And
seeing
I
Ayurveda
know how
everywhere.
when I first started learning it, I'm like, oh, this person's this person's this. Like, oh, I see that characteristic in this person. But I feel like
Yeah.
it's with like any kind of those quizzes or anything. Oh, I just get so obsessed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, yeah, once you learn a little bit more about your dosha, it's like it gives you so much clarity in terms of like why you haven't been able to digest gluten or why you haven't been able to digest, I don't know, cold smoothies all the time. And it just gives you all of the right tools, I think, to prevent burnout. And that's where I love to talk about self-care for female entrepreneurs. And that aspect, it's like once you learn more about your body tendencies, you're less tempted, towards your imbalances and increasing your chances of having those health challenges in general.
That's awesome. So I obviously believe that having a healthy mind, body, spirit connection is good for us in a sense of us being as humans, but also in a business aspect. And most of the audience is female entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in general. How can they start intertwining the doshas and Ayurveda into their business and their actual day-to-day life? Because or how do they even go about starting to find out? We talked about like, obviously you could take a quiz online, but how do you start intertwining that into regular day-to-day life so you can have that beautiful alignment in self and then also like bring all this ancient wisdom into everything that you're doing as well?
Yeah. Yeah, we talked a lot about the doshas and taking the quiz because it's the fun part,
Yes.
but the biggest part of Ayurveda is actually the gunas, and the gunas are the qualities of nature. And we find out the qualities of nature everywhere, like within our speech, well, how we think, what we eat, what we wear, like the quality of our desk, like everything has a certain quality of nature. And how people can start just practicing a little Ayurveda is just to find out, okay, so I don't know, outside here in Canada, it's like cold, dry, windy. So Ayurveda is about finding out the balance. So if you could find a balance of, you know, decreasing this wind, airy, cold quality, you would reach out for really more grounding and warm and soothing qualities. And you could just start by having some warm, sweet, spiced, gingery, sweet potato soup, and that would balance out the really cold and dry winter outside. So it's just it takes a lot of time. It could take like weeks and months just to trying to being more aware of like the qualities of nature and how you can start practicing this balancing act with food and your spices and your teas even. So yeah, and there's this. And the second thing is of course I have a dosha quiz on my website. And yeah, so people can definitely go check it out. And I don't do it like the general dosha quiz for everyone. It's like the dosha quiz for female entrepreneurs in general. So it's just how you are in business, how you can start practicing, those Ayurvedic principles in your business in there. It's like because I cannot, just say do this, do that, because it's such an individualized practice that you have to take quiz, or you have
Yes.
to, take a little one-on-one something just to learn more about your mind body type. And then from there, you can start to learn more. Okay, so I'm Pitta, so that means I get super angry when nothing works out. So what can I do to cool my fiery anger? Like I could take some rose tea a little bit and cool down my system, or I can have a little, rose water mist in my face just to cool down a little bit. Yeah, so it really depends on everyone.
Those are great tips. I love that. And I'm definitely going to have to take that quiz myself because I have not taken your quiz yet. And like I said, I love all things quizzes, all of them. So let's talk a little bit about the self-care aspect of it, because that's mostly what you do. That's your specialty. So how do we intertwine self-care with the doshas, with business as well? Because us as female entrepreneurs, we're all over the place. And sometimes a lot of the thing that happens is we don't focus on self-care. And that is so important for us to sit back, do the meditating, eat healthy. And sometimes we just get overwhelmed with being a me, because like this is my pitta coming out. I'm a workaholic. A little bit of pitta that I have. I'm a workaholic and I overwork myself, and I get burnt out all the time. So how do we focus on obviously being aware and stuff, but bringing those together so we can have a healthy, balanced relationship with our doshas as well as with our life?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I find so funny nowadays is like, especially as female entrepreneurs, we're like, oh, self-care is so important. You must take a bubble bath. But that ends like there. And nobody talks a lot about, how to properly eat and how to, take more care of yourself, which kind of oil you could start using on your body and your hair and everything. And that's where the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda is so freaking amazing, because what I like to promote all the time on my platforms or even my group is always the importance of having a strong daily routine. And that's where us female entrepreneurs sometimes we get, caught up in our emails and our work and
Oh,
like
yeah.
everything. So that's where I say people usually have a strong daily routine. It doesn't have to be like a 3-hour morning routine where you meditate 45 minutes and like you practice yoga and everything. You just can start with 2 or 3 things every day, as long as it's the same time. Maybe you wake up at the same time every morning. Maybe you go to sleep at the same time every morning. Maybe you have your meals at the same time every day. And just this will give, your body this automatic, way of doing things. And it will give, it'll be more relaxing state instead of just, always go, go, go,
Go,
and
go,
not
go.
having this, irregular routine all the time. And that's where we are faced with our health challenges later. Once, if you don't have a regular routine, like that's where you get caught up with hormonal imbalance and digestive issues and insomnia and all of these things. So yeah, if people could start, if they want to start a more focusing and making a self-care more of a priority, I would say stick to a daily routine. Or if you cannot, well, at least have your meals at the same time. Or if you cannot, at least try to massage your feet at night before bed. And that will make a huge change in how you sleep and how you will feel. And it'll also prevent you from any kind of like big anxiety events from coming up, or it'll be less intense. Yeah. So self-oil massage would be my best way.
That sounds lovely. I need to start
Yeah,
doing that.
it
That
is.
sounds absolutely lovely. Actually, great tip.
Yeah, it is.
So, how do we distinguish between the doshas? I keep going back to these doshas. I love them. So can you give some examples of how we can do self-care for each particular dosha? Because obviously each dosha, once they take your quiz, once they find out what dosha they are, obviously each one has some kind of different self-care. Can you explain how they would go about each one and then how they could care for themselves based on their doshas?
Yeah, sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, Vata is all about air and space and really in their head. So, what you want to do if you are predominantly a Vata person would be to find practices to bring you more towards the groundness and towards the ground and more, in your feet all the time and in your body, less in your like out of body experience all the time. Yeah. So, with that, you can start just by practicing restorative yoga or just yin yoga, something that's really, really on the ground with maybe sandbags and like all, really chill and like super soft things, nothing too like running all the time. Yeah, like of course you can run, of course you can do all of the things you like. It's just to find out the balance where, you are really a vata or you are really, really airy in your mind and your body. So you have to find ways to ground your body more. And you can do that with yoga, you can do that with warm and really spicy and soothing, comforting foods. Like, as I mentioned earlier, sweet potato ginger soup is a good one.
Sounds
Or
delicious.
you can have just bread. Like vata, you can go ahead and eat whatever you want that is super comforting, like soup, bread, all of the, even the cheese and the pizza. Like, even though it's not
Ooh.
super healthy, these would be things that would, if you really don't have a choice, like these things, as long as they're warm and spiced, they will help you with your vata imbalances in general. Um, Also, there's the different kinds of oils you can start using. So as I mentioned, you can start practicing self-oil massage. And if you don't have a lot of time to do the whole body massage, you can just do your feet at night before going to sleep. And the kind of oil will also differ from the mind-body type. So Vata would be just sesame oil, just for the feet.
Ooh.
And for Pitta, so yeah, for people that are super fiery and like usually female entrepreneurs,
Yes.
we tend to go like over, like we might have a red nose or red cheeks, all the blood comes up, like all of the fire comes up. Maybe we start losing our hair, maybe we start having early gray hair too. So these are like when your fiery is just taking too much and it's just going up your body all the time. Also acne. So all of these things, you can start to shift them and cool them down a little bit with rose water or rose tea. You can start using even any kind of like cooling foods like cucumber, wheat also is in there, quinoa. There's also all of these, mint tea, peppermint tea, fennel tea, all of these things. They will cool down the pitta in you, or the angry, really fiery woman, ambitious woman, which is not a bad thing, really good. I'm into that position all the time. But yeah, find ways to cool down your body with this, and even coconut oil a lot, and all of these really nice, soothing smoothies, like pina colada smoothies kind of thing, like
Ooh.
really cooling. Well, yeah, it is a little bit cooling, but yeah, all of these things, all to cool down your body. Even just splash a little bit of water in your face. All of these things that will make you feel a little bit lighter and more grounded and more cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the third one, Kapha. How you can start practicing self-care for Kapha. Kapha is all about stagnation and grounding, and even you want to start increasing the circulation, increasing the metabolism, a little bit boost a little bit. So you can start by having all of these really spicy foods, not oily, but something really spicy and dry. I would think like only thing I have in mind is like a bowl, those Buddha bowls, like with chickpeas and like
Oh, yeah, those are
kale
yummy.
and like rice, and then you add a little bit of ginger in there and like a little bit of paprika and chili spice. So that would be really like
Yum.
something that was really dry and really that helps to create, more circulation in kapha and increase, vitality in this grounding kind of person. And yeah, I think that would be good. And even in terms of exercise, Kapha people can do the whole thing, like in a run. They should be running, marathons and like moving around a lot, doing all of the crossfitting stuff, like really all that can wake up a little bit more the body.
I love that. I think people are going to get so much information from this, and I'm sure every single person is going to want to find out their doshas. How do we, obviously, there's some kind of imbalances that a lot of people have within themselves, and we don't recognize that. How do we make sure that we're all three of them are balanced within us so that we can be the best version of ourselves coming from all three of them? Because everyone has all three of the doshas within ourselves. Obviously, some are more predominant, but how do we keep that balance between ourselves and between all of them?
Yeah, at this point, I think, depending on your health challenges, in my case, it was what got me in Ayurveda at the first place was with hormonal imbalance. And a hormonal imbalance is a pitta imbalance. So that's where there's too much heat in the body and too much fire. And I read here and there a little bit about Ayurveda, but at some point you need the counseling of either an Ayurvedic health counselor or Ayurvedic practitioner in order to find out more about how the heck am I,
Yes.
supposed to balance this? It's so complicated. So of course there are a little bit here and there of free stuff online you can start finding out, but yeah, I think finding out your balance is the first thing is to learn more about your dosha and what your tendencies are. And once you have those kind of health challenges that's come up, you know a little bit how to change them and like help make them a little bit less, impactful in your life and even in your business. Because in my case, I was having a lot of hormonal imbalance and I was not feeling like myself at all. Like, how was I supposed to create an online business and create content and show up on Instagram and do photo shoots and all of this and create, blog posts if I, myself was not feeling like going out of bed or getting out of bed or just, I just felt like watching Netflix all day long. So I think at this point I was like, okay, what can I do to apparently hormonal imbalance is pitta. So it's like a lot of fire. It's like, what can I do to, cool down a little bit? And that's where I just found out a lot of, how can I cool down my body? I think at some point you will be able to balance things out on your own, but I strongly suggest to have any kind of like one-on-one counseling at this point. If you have really health challenges that are keeping you away from reaching your goals, I think that's where really one-on-one could be the best thing.
Yeah, that's awesome because we don't realize that how much our health really has to do with our business. Because if you're not healthy on the inside, you're not going to be able to be wealthy on the outside. You can't put those two together, mind, body, spirit. It all intertwines together no matter what. So I think it's really beautiful for us to take a look at our insides, take a look at what isn't working. Are you constantly craving certain foods that you shouldn't be craving? Are you having hormonal imbalances? Are you not able to sleep? And is your business suffering because of that? Can you talk a little bit more about the merging of the balances in your body, the self-care for yourself in order for you to be healthy on the inside, healthy on the outside, and how to bring that into the business aspect? Because us female entrepreneurs, we're like all over the place. We don't take care of ourselves, but we need to focus really on the balance, the mind, body, spirit connection. And Ayurveda is the perfect way to do that. So how do we bring it all together, and what are some little steps that people can take on the regular basis, even if they're so overwhelmed with Ayurveda and they're like, this is a lot, I don't know where to start, I don't know, I'm getting overwhelmed? Some little tips and tricks that they could bring into their business and be in that alignment and really focus on themselves.
Yeah, sure. And I totally get the Ayurveda overwhelm, like
Yeah.
hashtag Ayurveda overwhelm. I totally was there and I'm
Me
still
too.
there sometimes. But if people should concentrate on three things, I would say the three pillars of health from an Ayurvedic perspective is food, sleep, and sex. So these are the three things that literally will make your prana or your energy move around, and you'll feel like your authentic self. You'll feel like your true self, and you'll be more able to be more, creative and show up with more energy and more confidence in your business in general. So the first pillar of health, so food, as I mentioned, as soon as you start learning more about your dosha, you'll learn a little bit more about your body's tendencies and what kind of food is best for you and what's not. So once you learn a bit more about the kinds of food that's best for you, that's done. Like you got the food health pillar of health.
That
That's
one's done.
checked. The second one is sleep, and sleep is, I don't know. It's like it's so. I don't know why people are not sleeping enough.
I get it. I've had insomnia for years. I was also
Um,
very high on my Vata, like way imbalanced. I was constipated. I couldn't sleep, like anxiety, like crazy, way overbalanced.
yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, people aren't sleeping. Goodness,
Mm,
especially now with everything going on in the stars.
yeah, I know. And it's like when you don't sleep enough, you crave foods and then you feel like crap. And then you're like, oh, I hate myself. And then you go to sleep like later because you don't want to, it's like the whole vicious cycle
Cycle.
just
Yep.
because, people don't sleep. So the second pillar of health, sleep, is, well, of course, having as much sleep as you can, as long as you're not like Kapha, where like Kapha, they don't need that much sleep. but in your case, it's really like challenging because
Oh
that's where
yeah.
you have the opposites going on. But yeah, like having the proper sleep, whatever sleep means to you, maybe it's 6, maybe it's 8, maybe it's like 10 hours of sleep. So focusing on a beautiful quality of sleep, and that would be just with a self-oil massage. It's going to help you so much. Just massage your feet at night. Just I always have a little bottle of almond oil right by my bed, well, like my nightstand, and I just massage my feet like 2 minutes. And if I have time, I will do the whole body, just a little small, really light application of oil, and this will help ground myself a little bit more for sleep. As we are, working so much on our computer, it increases our anxiety and our racing thoughts and our insomnia, tendencies. So just by giving, the body love a little bit and touch and oil all the time, it just brings the body into a more calm state, and it helps you with sleep.
That's
And the
beautiful.
third one,
We
sex.
all need on more sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And the third one, which is sex. And when we say sex, it's not just the relationship and the things, but it's also how you it's also how you manage your creativity and your energy in general. So that could be how much energy you put in your business. So if you put too much energy in your business and you're not eating enough of the good food for your body, and you're not sleeping enough, that's where it doesn't balance
Balance.
it out. Exactly. So that's where, you want to, if you put a lot of energy in your business and your creativity and your projects and in your sex life, that's where you want to, increase a little bit on the quality of your foods and increase a little bit into your sleep. So you get just, into a same level for the 3 pillars of health. So if you don't want to get overwhelmed, just think about these 3 things in your life and where you are in there. And it's okay to not always have the perfect balance, because Ayurveda is not about finding the perfect healthy lifestyle all the time, because it's impossible to have a perfect healthy lifestyle all the time. We're constantly changing. So yeah.
That's for sure. I mean, I know how I am personally. So there's always going to be that influx of things coming in and things overwhelming us sometimes. And we do need to find that balance every day, work for that balance in order to make sure that we come aligned and that mind, body, spirit is aligned. So that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you. I can't personally wait to take your quiz because I love quizzes. So where can people find you? Where can they get more information about Ayurveda, about how to work on with a one-on-one coach? Where can they find you?
Yeah, sure. So they can find me on my website, and the quiz is in there too. So it's theholisticbossbabe.com/quiz. So that's where you get to find out about your dosha, and you'll also receive my best recommendations for food and the ideal morning routine for boss babes, and like all of
Ooh,
the, cool stuff about self-care. Yeah.
wonderful. Can you really quickly before we hop off, can you give a tips on what is your morning routine? We talked about this a little bit earlier, like what is the ideal morning routine?
Yeah. So first, as I mentioned earlier, just make sure to always wake up at the same time. And depending on the seasons, like here in Canada, it's winter, so the sun comes up at like 7 o'clock, and usually want to rise with the sun. So in winter, I will wake up around 7 o'clock, and then I will go scrape my tongue, the Ayurvedic, thing that everyone is talking about, the scraping your tongue. I will then,
I
brush
didn't
my
know that.
teeth. Really? Okay. So scraping your tongue is just using a little copper, little
Tongue scraper.
tool.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, a little copper tool, or it could be stainless steel. Just scrape a little bit your tongue, and there will be a little light, weightish, whitish coating in there, and that's usually the toxins that accumulates in your digestive system. And then during the night, it'll come up and rest on your tongue, and you just want to make sure to scrape this off in the morning, so you start off fresh and toxin free for the day. So yeah, that's part of my morning routine. And then, brush your teeth and having a warm beverage. I usually go for a latte or cappuccino, but it's not, I know it's not the most Ayurvedic
That's not
thing
very
in the world.
Ayurvedic of you.
I know, but I really want to make Ayurveda more, for the modern boss babe, because, you know, having just the lemon water, a ginger tea every morning, that's not something that everybody can do. So I try to, you know, make it as modern as possible. And that's why I love having my cappuccino in the morning. It makes me, you know, more motivated, and it kicks the kapha in the butt, and it just, you know, makes you going to reach your goals. So yeah, having a warm beverage. And Ayurveda is all about the quality of your elimination. So how good you're going, you know, how your bowel movement is, and how you're able to release of your toxins every day. And that would be an amazing thing to have. And a bowel movement every morning, that would be part of your dinacharya, so your morning routine. And afterwards, you start, you know, exercising, you meditate, you all of the journaling prompts and all of these stuffs. You shower, and then you breakfast, and then you start.
That sounds like a perfect morning to me.
Yeah.
You did mention wanting to make Ayurveda fun for the modern boss babe. Do you have any last minute ancient Ayurvedic tips that you modernize?
Ooh, I don't know. Oh, that's a good question.
I read the other day that you should take like a sip of water every 20 minutes. That's like an Ayurveda thing. Do you have any kinds of ancient tips to like modernize and like make them fun for the modern boss babe?
Yeah, sure. Now that you mentioned it, I think the problem is people usually drink cold water during the day. And that's something that will really deplete you and make you feel a little bit more constricted. And you know, when you drink something really, really cold, how constricted, and sometimes it even hurts, you know, in your body when it's too cold. So that's, you know, a sign that's not the best thing for your body according to Ayurveda. So I would suggest having, as long as you're working on your computer all day long, why not having a cup of tea every day, like during the day, instead of having cold water all the time, you know, straight out of the fridge, or, you know, just having some really simple warm water with lemon, or it could be herbal tea. I like to just go with a simple lavender tea, or, you know, just sipping warm water, or maybe room temperature water during the day. I think is the best thing you can start doing today.
I love that. Awesome. And what are your social media channels where they can find you? We have your website already. Where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me at the Holistic Boss Babe on Instagram, and just Sabrina Bawa on Facebook. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sabrina. This has been fabulous. I think everyone's going to walk away with so many beautiful golden nuggets. They're going to take the quiz and they're going to start implementing all these beautiful things into their daily lives, starting with drinking some water.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
Would you like to learn how to create magic and change your money mindset in just 10 days? Then the 10 Days to Money Magic is just for you. In just 10 days, you'll get past all of your limiting beliefs around money and finally be able to call in unlimited abundance. To learn more, visit aniahalama.com/money magic.